Well, welcome back. Um, no, I got something on my canvas already. Welcome back, and we're going to be painting the Honey the Highlander cow. This is our premier fall paint party. I think this one will do well. I'll probably be doing it several times. Um, my name is Joni. This is You're the Artist Studio, or You're the Artist Paint Parties, depending where you're watching. And I'd love if you wanted to paint along with me. Just keep pausing this. And to get, the painting is not too difficult to draw out. It is a little more than usual, but we are only using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. And these are the colors here. So we have salted caramel. We're supposed to have cinnamon stick, but I'm using alizarin crimson because they didn't have it. Antique gold because they didn't have deep ochre, and lush green, black and white. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on this. So first we're going to paint the background. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix some of this salted caramel and white. Pretty light actually. You don't want it to be very dark. And we're going to paint. Feel free to make a bunch of variations in shading. Some areas can be whiter and lighter. Don't worry about painting over some of these leaves, and though I wouldn't paint over the cow itself. If you're at my paint party where it's drawn out already. Because this paint party we're doing in a few weeks, so I'm sure some of you all have the opportunity to watch it ahead of time. Don't worry about getting in there and all the bits and pieces, just kind of dot your brush over it. Throw more white in there and lighten that up a bit. You don't want it too dark. This will definitely be a fun one to do. I'm very excited. Can't wait to paint this at a party. I don't have to wait to paint it. I'm painting it now. Alrighty, let's see here. Alrighty. So that is, for the most part, yeah, don't stress out about the background. It is just basically, it is pretty simple. So to lighten it, darken it, I wouldn't make it too dark though. Alrighty. So normally, anyone who's painted with me before, I usually start top down. But for this one, and because this is a little on a more technically challenged spectrum of paintings, we're going to start at the bottom here. And what I want you to do, oops, picture back. We're going to do the same thing, the salted caramel and the white. A little darker than the background since we don't want them to blend too much. I say that, and it's really not any darker than the background. And we're going to paint under here, and we're going to be making this, in strokes going down like the fur. Honestly, it doesn't really matter that much at this point. Now I'm going to take some of that the goldish color, and this is where it'll matter with it. And I'm using my my 1-inch brush, but I'm using the flat end of it, and I'm just making strokes with that goldish color, kind of going down. You know, I'm probably going a bit on the fast side. I've got to kind of see how long this is going to take me. You know. So I know that we'll get done in time. So I'm going to mix some of this alizarin crimson and the salted caramel together. It's supposed to be like a reddish brown. And come down under here. Now I'm going to take some of, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I did forget to mention the 7 colors. The burnt umber. I thought I was counting wrong on there. So just kind of on the edges a little bit. Just kind of. I'm going to bring some of that in here. Now this is really wet, and so it'll probably be better to come back to this when it's not so wet. Take some paint off of this brush. Don't want too much on there. Put some caramel, straight caramel, or salted caramel. I don't know why they name paint flavors like food. But we want to make sure that we are indicating what do cows have? They have fur, they have hair, a coat, but it's all heading in this downward trajectory. Just play around with it. All right. All right, so we're going to do the same thing, salted caramel, a little lighter than straight up. We're going to paint the face area. Come down. on this side. I think the biggest struggle with this painting is going to be the fact that there is so many very light, similar colors. Now I'm coming back in with the ears. I'm going a little darker on the ear. I'm going to just do the salted caramel straight up without lightening it up. And I want it to be fluffy. Is that the word for it? So I'm using this brush and I'm just kind of, but use whatever brush works best for you, whichever makes you more comfortable, where you feel like you have the most control. Some people might feel the smaller brush has better control for them. And we don't want to forget this ear over here. It's nothing worse than finishing a painting and realizing that you forgot an ear or a horn. Okay. So I'm going to clean my brush off. And I'm going to come back in with this gold. I think I want to actually come back in some of this caramel, but a little darker. At least coming up from the bottom. Could be a little lighter coming up to the eyes. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of gold and white. Kind of come down here. Now this part, right, this like V shape here, this funnel shape, I want this to be a lighter. So I just did some of that salted caramel in white. And I don't think there's enough contrast. This is a little trickier side, this one here. We'll let this dry some before we get too deep into it. Alright, so the ears are going to be a little darker. And again, I'm mixing some of this alizarin crimson, which I'm substituting for a cinnamon stick, which they look like about the same color on mine. So let me actually dip a little bit of burnt umber in with that. So I'm mixing some burnt umber, some alizarin crimson, and salted caramel together. Just adding some darker areas to the ear. And then also, and I kind of like this little burnt umber, alizarin crimson, and salted caramel together. That looks pretty good. So we get a little bit on the side here. Now feel free to use the smaller brush. I'm going to get a little bit on the side here. I may even move over to the smaller brush for a sec. Let's see if I can. Actually, right now I don't have any paint on the brush. I'm just trying to move along what I put on there. I want this darker to be more towards the edge of the canvas. So I'm pushing it back a little bit with the dry brush. And at this point, I think I'm going to I'd like to add some soul, add some life. And we're going to paint the eyes. So you take the black, a bit too much water on my brush there. Take the black, I'm just going to fill in the eye. And same with this one. And since we have the black out, I'm going to go ahead and do the little nostrils. But I don't want to do the little mouth just quite yet. Alright. Still doesn't quite look alive, so what we're going to do is take our back of our brush, dip it in some white. There. I still don't like the lack of contrast there. So we're going to darken up the face a little bit. So I'm mixing salted caramel, a little alizarin crimson, and even a little bit of the burnt umber, just a little bit. This is definitely a good exercise in blending and mixing paints. And honestly, everybody's gonna look different, and everyone's gonna. They're gonna be different, and that's gonna be awesome because I like it when they're different. We want this sweet baby to come alive for us. Now notice I'm using the smaller brush. And I touched the eye that was wet. And the wonderful thing about acrylics is, take all your paint off your brush, and you can basically just pick it right up. Move it around while it's still that wet. It's all good. And I'll just come in later and fix that little area there. Okay. You can fix anything. Alright, so a little darker. And that is so that when we do the blonde hair that's coming down, it'll stand out more. As it was now, it didn't appear like it would stand out. I also want this darker in the area of the flowers. But we don't want it too dark. We want a nice blonde Highland cow. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. And I'm going to do the snout. So to do the snout, we're going to mix some white and alizarin crimson, which will make a nice pink. I'm going to add a tiny bit of salted caramel in there to tone that pink down a little. Let's see what it looks like. It's a little on the pinky side. Don't want it too pink, but I want it to be a shade, you know, to have a little bit of pink in it. So better. So this is the alizarin crimson, salted caramel, and white mixed together. I kind of think it's a little too pink, but we'll see. I can always fix it at the end. So we can take a little bit of a little salted caramel white over it just to tone that pinkish look down a little bit. Then for the snout itself, I'm going to mix the alizarin crimson with salted caramel. Let's see what this looks like. I got too much paint on the brush, so I'm going to get some of it off. I'll come in and finish this with a smaller brush. So I hope you guys are ready for fall. We had a couple days where it was a little tiny bit chilly in the morning, and I mean like barely chilly, like 68 degrees maybe chilly. But the chilliest it's been for a while. But we are heading right back into the 90s every day, so it was short-lived. But it's coming. It's coming. I think that's too yellow. I'm just gonna take this. Basically, I just took this out of the water. It still had some. There we go. Yeah, with mixing all these very similar colors, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. Yeah, but the beautiful thing is you can just kind of paint right over where you were, and it's all good. Alrighty, so I'm going to wait for this to dry a little bit more. I'm going to kind of come down here and fill in some of these areas. Now I think, let's see. So for the flowers, we're going to go straight into that gold, antique gold. Or better yet, let's take that burnt umber, kind of get our bearings here. Just kind of fill in the center of the circles. So there's 3 sunflowers. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to babble. Let's see. And one down here. So I'm going to take and using your medium brush would be best, your medium round brush. We're just going to fill in the sunflower petals. Don't worry if you're, you don't know there's supposed to be a leaf there or something, you know, all that is arbitrary. We can add a leaf where there wasn't, and we can fix the leaf where there was. It's all good. Don't stress out over it. Don't stress out over being in the lines here. It's all good. I'm not. Do the same down here. Don't worry about it being so close to the color. We're going to come back in with some white. Lighten that up a little. So now I'm kind of going over with just white while it's wet so it'll blend in. Just lightening up these. We're going to come back over them again, just not right away. Got too much paint on your brush, just wipe it off. If you have too much paint on your brush, you'll find it won't do what you want it to do, more than likely. Okay, so now we have the horn, and we're going to take, I think we'll go with white and tiniest bit of the gold rather than the brown. Tiniest bit, like that's too much, but I can come back. I'm going to take some of that alizarin crimson and burnt umber mixture here. I'm just gonna run a line. This is where it's challenging for me not working on an easel, stuff like that. Now don't forget the horn over here too. Now I'm gonna take some paint off all the paint off this brush. This brush rubbed it off. Come back in with the white. Do the same over here. Let that blend into that darker shade on the bottom. And with the darker shade on the bottom, it gives it a more rounded look. Alright, so let us try some of this white and yellow or gold color. Let's see what happens. See, now that is so much better. So right now I'm using the medium brush, but I'm not a fan. But use again what brush you're more comfortable with. I'm going to take the bigger brush on the side here. We're going to kind of come down on each side like a V here. And we can do the same, that white and gold mixture. Back here again, making downward strokes where the fur would be going, the fur, the hair, coat. This is risky if your eye's not dry, but you can always have a whisk of hair going over. Now, we'll come back to the black and the small brush. We're going to kind of the mouth. The mouth technically should have been more downward pointed, but I wanted to make it look not so sad. I thought she looked too sad. Let that dry. Can come back in with a little bit of black and maybe even mix a little brown. Hit some of these shadow areas. But very little. Don't use very much black anywhere. Just kind of hint that there's some shadow going on in here, but don't do too much. You also want to bring some up into the ears. First, we'll come around the outside here. So again, I'm mixing some burnt umber, some of this lizard and crimson, and the slightest, tiniest bit of black. Really don't even need black. I'm creating some shadow areas here and along the side of the face. I'm telling you, everybody's cow, everybody's little Highland cow, everyone's honey. It's gonna look different. It's gonna be fun. Just the slightest. And it's just really to make some shadow. This is just me, you don't have to do this. I'm just barely touching the surface here. But again, this is kind of extra I'm doing because I think it needs it. I'm gonna put a little bit there because That'd be the bottom as the face is rounded. It'll be a little bit more in shadow. A little bit darker. Blend this in a little bit more. All right, so let's take some of this alizarin crimson and maybe some more of the salted caramel, make that nice kind of reddish brown. It's a very fall palette, very fall colors. And make some leaves off of here. I'm not really worried about where they were drawn out. I'm just kind of make a little. Do the same thing here. With this round brush, it makes it easy just to press it down and it creates practically a leaf. And now, I'm going to dab into the green. Let's see. It's pretty green. Make sure your brush is not soaking wet like mine is. And we're just going to put in leaves, and if you can't find where the leaf was, just go ahead and pretend there's a leaf there. That's what I'm doing. It's okay. And in the end, if we have space, like I think I'm going to have some space, I'm going to need to fill with that, more of that background color. It won't be a problem. I can just mix up a little bit more. Let's see. I'm not even 100% certain there's supposed to be a leaf right there. I don't think it. I think that was his hair from. That's alright. There's a leaf there now. Put a leaf here. Mix me up a bit of that dark brown. Just alrighty. Here. So now I just mixed a little bit of that salted caramel and the white again, like we did for the background. I'm just going to fill in a few areas. And I'm kind of come in and define again some of these flower petals. And I can do the same thing I did before. Decide I wanted define some of these a little bit better. All right. Just basically touch in any of those areas that like are white, and then we're going to come back in with white and do exactly what we did before. And help define these petals a bit. So I do know this looks really challenging, but if you come to the class that we're having, I will walk you through. We're not doing any other painting, just this. I will be painting it with you. And we'll be walking through step by step how we do this. We forgot that there was a leaf thing in here, didn't we? I'll worry about touching that up in a minute. So then the last thing we have to do really is we're going to take and just kind of take our gold and just kind of dot, circle around the inside, but not all the way to the edge. Like that. And we're going to do the same thing here. And we'll do the same thing here. Come in with a little black. And dot the edges. And just lightly tap it. You want it to look somewhat irregular. You can do the center too if you want to. But you don't have to do a lot. You want some of that brown to show through. And then you kind of do the same. Bring your to a point or use the back of your brush and hit it with some white. All right, and now we also have to do the fence post. Now I am going to use the burnt umber for that. Fill that in. Now I'm going to take some black, because we want it to be rather irregular. I'm going to take my small little brush, the thin detail brush, and we're going to kind of run a wire. So we're going to do one here too. And now we want to do a little like X's, so it looks like there's barbed wire. Add a little bit of white to the top of this. There's so much water on my brush. Just the slightest. And the clean brush, and I'm going to use the medium brush. Now the only thing left now is to do our little white highlights. So that'll depend on how much time you have. I'm going to add some white to the hair on the forehead. Add some white over here. Another layer of white to the top of the horn, and just a wee bit here's. And that, my friends, is Honey the Highlander. I think we did an okay job. Fix that a little bit there. There we go. You can add a little bit of white highlights to the leaves if you want to, here and there. Alright, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will be doing this one on August 17th. No, not the 17th. 19th, I believe. I believe it's August 19th. 7 days from the 12th. So, yeah. Then 17th is my mom's birthday, which is a Sunday. So, probably 2 days after that. So, 19th. Thank you for joining me, and if you paint along at home, just feel free to show your pictures on YouTube, my Facebook. Ask questions if you have any questions on how something's done. If you can't find paint colors, what paint colors should you use? And just feel free to hit me up and ask me any kind of questions you need. This will be a fun class. It's a cute cow, and thank you for joining. Thank you for watching, especially if you watched all the way to the end. Feel free to like and subscribe. And we'll be back next week with another painting, I'm sure. And thanks for watching. It's Joni signing off. You're the Artist Paint Parties. You're the Artist Studio.